Hello, welcome back to my channel. Since Halloween is just around the corner, I thought I would share something a little different with you, especially if you are a spooky season fan. Last year, I shared my top 5 Halloween comedies along with my top 5 Halloween alien movies, and I will link those videos somewhere so you can find them if you would like to watch them later. This year, instead of the usual modern horror flicks, you and I are going to be diving into the creepy world of black and white horror cinema. I use the word horror, but you could use the word scary just as well. These are films that might not be on your radar, but they are atmospheric, chilling, and I think that they set the perfect mood for a dark October night. Some are cult classics, others are iconic, but I think that they all deserve a spot on your watch list. So grab some popcorn, dim the lights, and let's count down my top 5 black and white Halloween movies. Carnival of Souls, starring Candice Hilligoss, Francis Fice, Sidney Berger, Stan Levitt, and directed by Herc Harvey. It was released in 1962. What makes this movie stand out right away is how it was made. Believe it or not, it was shot on a shoestring budget of just $30,000, which is incredibly low even for the time. It was directed by Herc Harvey, who had never made a feature film before. In fact, he had only worked on mostly industrial and educational films, and this was his only theatrical movie. The story follows a young woman who survives a car accident, but afterward finds herself drawn to a mysterious, abandoned carnival pavilion. It's got the eerie, dreamlike quality that sticks with you long after the credits roll. One of the coolest facts is that they filmed many of the scenes at the Salt Air Pavilion in Utah, which was this decaying old resort by the Great Salt Lake. The crumbling, abandoned atmosphere was real, and it gave the movie an unsettling authenticity that you just can't fake. When it first came out, Carnival of Souls didn't make much money and kind of faded into obscurity. But over time, it's become a cult classic, praised for its haunting imagery, minimalist style, and influence on later horror films. Many fans and critics say you can see its DNA in movies like Night of the Living Dead and even David Lynch's work. So even though it was low budget and almost forgotten, I think Carnival of Souls is perfect if you're looking for something a little bit different and artsy. Number 4, I Walked with a Zombie, starring Christine Gordon, Francis D., Tom Conway, Darby Jones, directed by Jacques Tourneur, released in 1943. Don't let the cheesy title fool you. I Walked with a Zombie is atmospheric, haunting, and beautifully shot. It was produced by Val Lewton, who became famous for making low-budget horror films that relied more on mood and suggestion than jump scares. The film tells the story of a traveling nurse who goes to the Caribbean island to care for a woman in a near catatonic state, only to find herself tangled in eerie voodoo rituals and supernatural forces. The budget was tight, but Lewton and Tourneur turned that limitation into a strength. Instead of showing a lot of monsters or effects, they leaned on shadows, music, and again, atmosphere. One of the most memorable scenes is a nighttime walk through the sugarcane fields with a towering ghost-like figure that will send chills down your spine. This film is fascinating because it blends Gothic romance with Caribbean folklore, which makes it unsettling and yet poetic. And believe me, there is some poetic justice in this film. Number 3, Creature from the Black Lagoon, starring Julie Adams, Richard Denning, Richard Carlson, Antonio Marino, directed by Jack Arnold, released in 1954. Let's dive into the creature from the Black Lagoon. Literally dive, since most of it takes place in the water. This film introduced the world to the Gill Man, one of Universal's last greatest movie monsters. The underwater sequences are still impressive today, especially when you think about the stunt performers who had to wear heavy monster suits while holding their breath and swimming gracefully. I think that would have been too claustrophobic for me. Rico Browning, who played the creature underwater, became a legend for that. The story itself follows a group of scientists. Yes, I love me some scientists, so much so that I married one, who encountered the creature while exploring the Amazon. It's part adventure, part romance, and part horror, and it became so popular it spawned 2 sequels. What's especially cool about it is that it was originally released in 3D, back when that was a new gimmick, so the audiences actually saw the creature swimming toward them from the depths. What makes it fun to watch now is that it has a mix of 1950s sci-fi and gothic horror, and it just has that classic monster movie feel. And at number 2, Bride of Frankenstein, starring Elsa Lanchester, Boris Karloff, Colin Clive, Ernest Thesiger, directed by James Well and released in 1935. And let me tell you, this is one of those rare cases where the sequel is often considered better than the original. It expands on Mary Shelley's story and gives us one of the most famous monster images in film history, the bride herself, with her tall, electrified hair like a streak of white lightning. What's interesting is that the bride is only on screen for a few minutes at the very end, but she made such an impact that she became iconic. And maybe, just maybe, you might have a book review in your future about her boyfriend. The film is gothic, creepy, but also surprisingly funny. James Well infused it with a bit of dark humor and campy style that makes it unique among the Universal monster movies. It was made during the golden age of horror, with lavish sets, dramatic lighting, and an eerie atmosphere that's perfect for Halloween viewing. And finally, my number 1 pick, Psycho, starring Janet Leigh, Anthony Perkins, Vera Miles, and John Gavin, directed by Alfred Hitchcock and released in 1960. Even if you haven't seen Psycho, you've probably heard of it, especially that famous shower scene. What's amazing is how shocking this film was at the time. Hitchcock went against all the Hollywood rules, and I'm not going to tell you what they were because that would be spoiling it, but Hitchcock insisted theaters not let anyone enter once the film had started, and that marketing trick alone made people rush to see it. The budget was modest, around $800,000, because Hitchcock actually filmed it with the crew from his TV show Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which, fun fact, I've been told an aunt of mine was a writer on that show. He also shot in black and white on purpose, partly to save money and partly because he thought it would make the shocking scenes more effective, and it worked. Psycho went on to influence countless horror and thriller movies. Norman Bates became one of the most iconic characters in cinema history. Even today, Psycho holds up as a must-watch Halloween movie. It's just creepy and stylish and unforgettable. And that's my list of my top 5 black and white Halloween movies. I'm curious, is there one that you think that I left out that should have been on my list? And if you don't mind, put it in the comment section below. I'm always looking for new titles to add to my marathon. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification bell so you can get more spooky season videos in the future. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Happy Halloween.